Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Monster Review where we take a look at tech tips and how-to video. Today we're doing a hybrid. We're going to do a how-to / tech tip. Basically what we're going to do is we are going to create our own in-home server. This in-home server that we are going to create using an old PC will allow us to do two things. We're going to set up a plex server so we can access all of our videos simultaneously on different smart devices such as smart TVs, iPads, phones in our home. And you would want to do this if you have a lot of home videos that you plan on transferring digitally to your computer. You can use this plex server to access all of those files on any device in your home, any smart device that has the Plex app loaded. The second part of our project is we are going to create a cloud server that can be remotely accessed on the outside. And with this cloud server, what we can do is we can work with other people's outside of the network so they can upload files directly to my cloud server, and using those files I can create something big. So essentially it allows multiple people to work together to create something big. An example of this is if I'm creating a wedding video and cousin A and B have pictures that they took, really nice pictures, I can create them a username and password, send them the link to my cloud server, and they can access my cloud server, which is located in my house. They can upload those pictures wherever they are, and I'll have access to those pictures, full resolution, non-compressed. Hopefully I didn't over-explain it. I have a tendency of over-explaining things. So if any of these scenarios interest you and it's something that you want to pursue, then continue watching and let's jump straight into it. Now, if I was to rate the difficulty of this project, I would probably rate it on a scale from 1 to 10. I would probably give it a 4. It's not that hard, it's very easy, but at the same time, you might run into problems. As with anything that deals with computers, you always run into problems. So keep that in mind. If you run into problems and you need help, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll try to get back to you and help you as best as I could. Now, there is a disclaimer that if you want to create a cloud storage in your home that can be accessed outside of your network, it does require opening port 80, and under no circumstance would a professional advise you opening port 80. Port 80 is pretty much leaving your door unlocked. Pursue the cloud storage section of this project at your own risk, but do keep in mind that there is a risk when opening port 80 so you can access your cloud server on the outside. Let's jump straight into the project. The first thing on the list that you're going to need is an old PC. When I say an old PC, I'm not talking about a PC that was designed to run Windows XP. That's a little too old. You're going to want something more modern, something that was probably released no earlier than 2011. The second thing you're going to need is the OS for the server, and the OS that we'll be using is called FreeNas, and just like the name implies, it's free to download and use. What I did was I downloaded the ISO and I burned it onto a CD, and I used the CD for installation. The third thing you're going to need is a flash drive. Now, a lot of people recommend using no less than 8 gigs. However, I used a 2 GB flash drive with no issues, and the software was loaded correctly and it runs smoothly. If you have like a 2 gig that's laying around and you're not using it, you can go ahead and use a 2 gig. This one right here is 16 gig. And then of course, make sure your old PC has a hard drive in it and it's big enough for the projects that you intend to upload to it. So if you're a content creator and you do a lot of 4K videos, make sure you have a hard drive in there that's at least 1 terabyte or bigger. If it's 500 gigs, you're gonna run out of space real fast. So the good thing about that is that you can go on Amazon and you can search NAS hard drives and you can find like a 4 terabyte for less than 150 bucks. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm not going to do that. I have hard drives already in the old PC, so I'm just going to use that. And apart from internal hard drives, you can also connect external hard drives to this FreeNas server that we're going to create and use it also. I would recommend just sticking with the internal hard drives. Okay, so those are the materials you're going to need. 3 simple materials. Now, the FreeNas software requires at least 8 gigabytes of RAM. I've installed the software on an old computer with only 4 gigabytes of RAM, and it ran perfectly. So don't let that 8 gigabyte RAM requirement scare you. So the first step is get your old PC. Here's my old PC from 2011. It's a Dell Inspiron. I recently retired it about a year ago. It's not that old of a system. It's running Core i3 processor, and it did have 8 gigabytes of RAM. However, I since have pulled out that RAM and I've put it in another computer. So we are going to have to open up this PC and check the RAM. And apart from the RAM, I also have to check the hard drives, because I don't know if I pulled out the hard drive and used them for another project. So if you have a computer and you know exactly what's in it, you don't have to do this step. But if the computer has been sitting for a while and you don't know what's in it, open it up and check it out. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to open up the computer and check out what's under the hood. So inside the computer, right off the bat, RAM is missing. Gonna have to find 2 sticks of RAM for this computer. I must have pulled it out and put it in another computer, but that's fine. I'm sure I can find 2 RAMs somewhere. This is the cable for the hard drive. The hard drive is unplugged, and we might have 2 ports for 2 hard drives, so that's good. We definitely have 2 bays for the hard drive, so I can put a second hard drive in here if I wanted to. I'm not entirely sure the size of this hard drive. Let's go ahead and pull it out. So it looks like we have a 1 terabyte Western Digital hard drive in this machine. Let's go ahead and put back the hard drives. Okay, let's just plug back the power for these hard drives. Now, of course, make sure your computer is unplugged before you actually start unplugging things and plugging things into the motherboard. Now that the hard drives are set up and connected to the motherboard, now we have to go and get our memory. All right, let's go ahead and put our stick of RAM in here. So after you install the hard drive and the RAM and everything looks good, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and plug in a USB keyboard. And while you're plugging in a USB keyboard, go ahead and take your flash drive and plug it in also. Now after you plug in the USB keyboard and the flash drive, go ahead and you want to boot into your BIOS. And in the BIOS, what you want to look for is to make sure that the computer is reading your hard drives and memories. Now this is only for someone who's rebuilding a old PC. Like I said, if you already know what your PC has inside, you don't need to rebuild it. You can jump straight into installing FreeNas. But for those of you who are not sure what's inside your system and you have to open it up to take a look, this is for you. You're going to have to boot into BIOS and double check to make sure that the system is reading all your new devices. So for memory information, it's showing that I installed 6 gigs of RAM, which I did, so that's good. You also want to make sure that your hard drives are reading correctly. So it's showing here that for SATA 0, SATA 1, and SATA 2, they are reading devices. SATA 0 is reading a 1 terabyte hard drive, which is correct. SATA 1 is reading a 500 gigabyte hard drive, which is correct, and SATA 2 is reading a DVD drive. So all that information checks out. So now we can go ahead and we can install FreeNas. Now before we install FreeNas, go into your boot section and make sure that it's going to boot from your DVD drive first. I'm going to go ahead and exit. Okay, so the computer should be booting up from the DVD drive, which it is. Here's FreeNas installer. Let's go ahead and select that. Alright, so now we have the FreeNas console set up here. So we're going to do install and upgrade. This computer has less than the recommended 8 gigs of RAM. Go ahead and say yes. Okay, now you're going to choose the destination drive to install FreeNas 2. We're going to go ahead and go to the USB flash drive. So go down to the flash drive, select it by hitting spacebar and hit OK. This will erase everything on the flash drive. Yes. Password. So this is going to be the root password. This is basically your admin access. So go ahead and create your admin password. I like to use UEFI. BIOS is a lot older, so you tend to run into issues. However, UEFI is usually fluent and works better, in my opinion. Depending on your computer, if it supports UEFI or not, BIOS might be better for you. However, this modern computer does support UEFI, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. Now the installation is going to take a while, so let's just go ahead and fast forward this. Okay, so FreeNas has been installed to the flash drive. Now we're going to go ahead and move the server where we want it, in the location we want the server to be in, and we're going to go ahead and just plug the Ethernet cord into the back of the server, and that's it. So once FreeNas boots up, you should get a URL for the web user interface. Now this is what makes this server software cool. is you're given a URL. Now you go to your desktop computer or laptop, you type in your IP address for the server for FreeNas, and you'll do everything from the web interface. So this computer can be in a closet with no screen, no keyboard, no mouse, and you'll be able to control it with just this IP address using another computer through a web interface. Okay, 192.168.2.36 is the IP address of the NAS server, so that's where we're going. Okay, so it's asking to create a new password. We're gonna go ahead and create a new password here. And then it's going to automatically start the wizard. Go ahead and select your time zone. Next. Now it's asking for a volume name for our hard drive. So let's go ahead and give it a name. Hit next. And we can go ahead and just skip this section here. And what we want to do here is set up SMB. So go ahead and select the name for the SMB. Again, we'll just use Monster Review here. Okay, so I got my SMB name. I'm gonna go ahead and hit add and next. Okay, and this is if you want email alerts. We can go ahead and skip this also. Go to confirm. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to create a volume. So go to volume manager, give your volume a name. So we'll give ours name of Monster Review. Now we're going to add our hard drive. So we want the 1 terabyte hard drive and the 500 gig hard drive. Okay, and after everything is configured, go ahead and hit add volume. And FreeNas will go ahead and create your volume for you. So after you create your volume, then what you want to do is you want to go into sharing and then go to Windows SMB and then click on add Windows SMB share. So now it's going to ask you to choose a path. So you're going to go to mount, select Monster Review, hit OK, and then you'll see Windows SMB share successfully updated. After that, you'll go into service and make sure that SMB is running. If it's not, go ahead and hit start now and they'll automatically start running. If you go to Finder, under network, you'll see Monster Review. Enter root and then the password you selected, and there you go. You are now accessing the hard drive on your FreeNas server, and of course nothing is in it yet. So now that you have SMB access to your hard drive, what you want to do is you want to create a folder. So I'm going to label this Monster Review Videos. I'm going to go on my laptop and let's see. I'll do the T-Mobile video and the battery hack. And I am just going to copy these two videos. Okay, I'm going to go back to my Monster Review hard drive, Monster Review videos, and I am going to paste my two videos. Our next goal is to set up our media server. So to set up the media server, we're just going to go into plugins, and like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, we are going to use the Plex server. So under plugins, we want Plex Media Server. Select Plex Media Server, then install. And FreeNas is automatically going to connect to the web and download the latest Plex Media Server plugin. You should get a message saying plugin successfully installed. Once the Plex Media Server finishes downloading, it's going to show up under here. Go ahead and hit storage, add storage, go to source, mount, Monster Review videos. Make sure you're selecting the folder where your videos are. And then for destination, I like to go into media, select media, and I'll just type videos and hit OK. And then it's gonna say storage successfully added. So everything is looking great so far. Go to plugins, go to installed, and then you should see your Plex Media server. So now that everything's complete, we can go ahead and we can turn the service on. And then the next step is to go to plex.tv, www.plex.tv. If you don't have an account, go ahead and sign up. If you do, you can go ahead and sign in. Alright, so go over here where it says plugin, you'll see Plex Media Server. Click here to access your Plex. Go ahead, and it's going to take you to your server's page, and it's automatically going to log you in. So now once you're here, go ahead and hit add library, other videos, and we will do monster review, add folder. Okay, go ahead and paste our destination, and then hit add library. And there you go, you'll see our 2 videos pop up right here. So we have the battery hack and we have the T-Mobile 4G LTE cell spot videos, both uploaded to our server, our Plex Media server. And then we can go ahead and we can play it in the server, and I will go ahead and play. And that's it, that's a Plex Media server. You're pretty much done. Our next task is to work on our cloud storage. So again, go into plugins, and you're going to look for uncloud. There's also Nextcloud, but this is the one I like to use. So once you select uncloud, go ahead and hit install. And again, this might take a while. Are you sure you want to install uncloud? Yes. Okay, it's going to say plugin successfully installed. Okay, to link your uncloud plugin with a storage device, go to jails, go to uncloud, select storage, and add storage. For the source, we want to go into a folder with files. Okay, and for destination, I like to go into media and files, and then just hit OK, and then you'll see storage successfully added, and then it'll bring you to this page. uncloud is mounted, true, so everything is good to go with uncloud. Go into plugins and then installed, and it'll bring you to this page, and go ahead and turn on the service. Once the service is turned on, you can go back here and refresh, and it should bring you to your server that you just created. Now here's the server. You're going to go ahead and create a username. So I'm going to create a username and then a password. Then finish setup. Not now. Then it'll give you a little pop-up where you can download the app and the desktop app. And then it'll bring you to this generic page where you will see 2 folders, documents and photos. And the nice thing about this is that because you're an admin, you can go into users, and then you can create more users. So I can create a user for dummy, and his password will be a generic password, and I don't have to put him in a group, and I don't have to give him admin. And then I hit create, and now dummy has his own account. So now if I log out, I can log into dummy, and now if I was dummy and I was probably on the other side of the world from admin, then I would have my own set of documents here. So I can go ahead and I can go into documents, and then I can upload a file, and I'm going to upload this picture of a camera. And there's a QCam camera. I just uploaded it, and then I can go ahead and I can share it with admin. and I can give admin the ability to share it and edit the file. And then I can also, we can leave comments. So I'll say, this is a nice picture, post it, and so on. Now, if I'm admin and I'm on the other side of the world, I can log into my account, and sure enough, I have a file here. When I click on it, it's the picture of the QCam system, and I can see it was shared by Dummy, and he left a comment, and I can see his picture. This is a nice picture. Now the cool thing about this is that any files that I upload and Dummy upload are stored locally in my home on my server. So I don't have to worry about the server ever going down and me losing all of my files. That's number one. Number two, it's going to make it a lot easier to work with people and get the information I need. So if they have photos and videos that I want to include in a special project that I'm working for a client, they can share those files with me. And then again, the best part is that all the files are housed locally in my home. That makes me feel at ease, and it makes my job a whole lot easier. So there's a lot of cool features you can do with OnCloud. So one important thing though is that if you are going to make username and passwords for other people who are outside of your network, you're going to have to enable remote feature within OnCloud so they can access your server from wherever they are. And the way you would do that is that you would go to a site like what is my IP address, and it'll give you the IP address that your internet service provider gives you. Now this IP address is basically, it's the address of your network in your home. So essentially it's like your home address. And what you would do is you would take this IP address now and you would go into a website like NoIP, and you would create a special host name, something that's easier to recall. So you can call it oncloud.hop2.org. The address is not available, but let's say it was. So basically you would create a host name, oncloud.hop2.org, and then you would link that to your IP address that you get here, your service IP address from your internet provider. And so instead of typing in your service IP address in the URL box, you can just type in oncloud.hop2.org and then your port 76, and then I'll automatically take you and your guests to your OnCloud server where they can log in and then they can upload files. Now again, there are risks with opening port 80, so please do at your own risk. There are better options out there, such as creating a VPN, but this is by far the easiest, but it's also the least secure. So you would log into your router and you would set up port forwarding. So basically we want port 80 open, so we're going to do port 80. Local IP is the IP address of the service, so we want the OnCloud IP address, which is 192.16.2.5. And again, we'll put port 80 and we'll set it at both and we'll add it. And there you go. The port is now open. So I am able to access my OnCloud server outside of my network. And so are my guests that I create a username and password for. They can access my network using the DNS host name that I created that's linked to my IP address. And that about does it for this video. A couple reminders. Number one, if you're going to open port 80 for OnCloud, make sure you are aware of the risk that comes with opening that port. Number two, for the Plex Media server, make sure your files are organized correctly and they are labeled correctly, because when Plex imports all those files into its database and they're not labeled correctly, you're going to get a huge mess, such as a combination of TV shows and movies and home videos all under one category. So you do have to label it correctly in order for Plex to automatically organize those files for you. And you can go to the Plex website and it'll show you how to label those files correctly. Number 3, for remote streaming of your media from home using the Plex app on your device, you do have to pay for it. It's $5 for the app, but once you buy it, you can stream all of your home contents anywhere in the world remotely. They also offer a subscription fee, so if you have a wide range of products, you can just get the subscription and you won't have to pay anything else. You'll be able to remotely stream all of your media from home anywhere in the world. And number 5, have fun and explore. Go crazy. Just go ahead and play around with this, because the best way for you to learn the system is to play around with it. So definitely get your hands dirty in FreeNas, also the Plex media server, and the OnCloud. Play around with all 3 of those things, because that's how you will master all 3 of them. Most importantly though, before you do the Plex and the OnCloud, make sure you master FreeNas. It doesn't take long, and if you keep at it, you will get comfortable with FreeNas. But once you get comfortable, you'll be able to create, delete, modify volumes like nothing, and also download plugins. You'll be a master at it. And last but not least, it's the most important: backup, 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 back. Your contents are valuable to you. Now, if your volume just contains some media files from like TV shows or whatnot, and it's not home videos, then you're good. If you have home videos on your server, be sure to back up all your drives and make backups of backups, because that's the best way to protect yourself and to make sure that you keep your files safe. Every day we move closer and closer to a digital age where everything is digital, so backups are very important. And FreeNas, one of the cool things about FreeNas is that it offers RAID services, so definitely use those features to protect your files. And also, I don't think I need to tell you, but I'll tell you anyways, the procedures that I show to opening port 80 might vary slightly depending on what router you have. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't find it helpful, thumbs down work also. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing, and I'll catch you and see you on the next one. Peace. And if you like videos like these, be sure to check out some of my other contents over here and over here. And to make it easy for you to subscribe to my channel, I'll place my subscription icon right here. And with that, I'll leave you alone.